Chapter 4. Proof of Resolve. We start the chapter with a flashback to 3 years ago. Saejima greets Majima as his brother as we enter the apartment. Emerging from the door, we see we still have both of our eyes at this time. Asked if we got what we wanted, we open our bag to reveal 6 Dojima family-sourced revolvers with 6 rounds each, 36 shots in all. Why the fuck is there a watermelon here? Anyway, we learn the plan is to take out a man by the name of Yoshiharu Ueno and every gooner he fucks with. This is a planned massacre. Skipping time a bit, we are told not to go through with the plan by a man named Shibata. Confused, we question how he knows about it. Shibata explains that our plan to take out the recently released Ueno is going to be a problem for the Dojima Patriarch and Shimano as well. Getting increasingly more upset, Majima asks if he is really telling him to betray his sworn brother and to let him die. Shibata tries to calm us down, but we're not going to let the only brother we have in this world die without trying our damnedest to save him. Out of options to resolve this without violence, Shibata Bread calls in his men as we try to leave. They defeat us and chain us to a pillar before we learn how Majima lost his eye. Stuck in a torture chamber chained up to the walls, Shimano enters, pulls his best dad act, and tells us we're a disappointment for not following orders. Ignoring Shimano, the only thing that matters to us is what happened to Saejima, our sworn brother. Shimano has a shit-eating grin as he won't give us a straight answer. He promises that we're not gonna die, or we're gonna wish we were dead. Not caring about what's gonna happen to us, Majima pleads just to know how his brother is, as the sake where his eye once was drips with blood. We scream as the door shuts behind Shimano, as he grins once again. Waking up in a cold sweat, we realize we weren't reliving the events, just dreaming of the memory. We get dressed while dreading last night's sleep before heading out on our way to work. Arriving at the Grand, we're meted by the floor manager from before. He thanks us for our managing skills, then asks why we didn't tell him about the other girls coming with Nozomi. The other who's-a-what's-its? Doesn't really matter, I guess. A win is a win. He leads us to check on the schedule as we head to the office. As we enter the room, the waiter immediately rushes us, letting us know the phone is ringing. When asked his name, the caller only responded with, "the owner." Grimacing, we say we'll handle it and go to pick up the phone. Sakawa asks if we can cut work and grab a drink with him. Majima reveals his piss fetish by saying he doesn't want to hang out. Sakawa joins in on the piss fun and lets us know it doesn't taste all that great. He tells us to meet him in Ashitaba Park ASAP, and then hangs up abruptly. We head out in a hurry, dead set on our next location. After getting distracted at the casino, we kick some ass before arriving at Ashitaba Park and settling at a food cart next to Sagawa. Without skipping a beat, we ask what the hell he wants us for. Attempting to lower our guard, he says he just wants to get a drink with his good buddy. Sagawa tells us to take a seat next to him. Appearing apprehensive and staying silent, we decide to sit down after he offers us a glass. Trying to make small talk, Sagawa talks about how he's tried many expensive dishes, but nothing beats this 80 yen daikon from this particular food cart. He continues to question the idea of what money is. Sagawa motions to pour us some hot sake, and, lifting up our cup, we accept. He wants to cheers our glasses, but after waiting a moment, we decide to ignore him and take a sip by ourselves. Seemingly not surprised, Sagawa lets out a smirk before taking a drink himself. The scene fades as time passes. Sagawa notices we haven't taken a drink since our first and calls us out on it. Uncaring, we reply the sake just doesn't taste right next to someone like him. He mentions how we've known each other for a couple years now and how we haven't stopped sulking since. Sagawa wonders why Majima is still left alive, stating that it doesn't make sense. We should have at the very least been expelled and disavowed for plainly disobeying our subordinate, but yet we're still here. We were sent to a torture chamber, but we still made our way out, despite it being thought that we'd surely die in there. After a whole year of torture, we were finally released from our chains by Shimano. It's not known why he let us out, a complete mystery to all but Shimano. Regardless of being let out, we were still banished from being a Yakuza, without a proper expulsion or disavowal. Listening onward, we hear that we're meant to be a civilian pet watched by Sagawa, ordered by Shimano himself. We speak up, wondering why this happened as well. Sagawa states we might be overthinking it, equating it to hardcore gay sex. We don't laugh and Sagawa brings it up, calling us a stick in the mud before posing a question. He wants to know why we want back into the Tojo clan so badly. He doesn't understand how someone like us could keep taking constant punishment for so long. Sagawa finally gets a reaction out of us by mentioning our sworn brother, Taiga Saejima, and how we're doing it all for his sake. Staying silent, we take another swig of our sake, which has now gone cold. Continuing on, Sagawa talks about Saejima and his legendary raid on the Ueno Seiwa clan, where he took out 18 men and still made it out alive. Now he waits in prison for his execution date. Why are we trying to get back in for his sake? What's in it for us? Believing in our brother, we know he'll come back someday to end us. Sagawa questions this before we shut it down, telling him to forget we said anything since it's in the past. We don't care what'll happen to us. We'll take any pain, face any adversity to reach our goal, to rejoin the Tojo clan. Sagawa makes fun of us for what we've said, leading us to reply that it's not his business anyway, before taking another swig from our glass. He offers us advice based on his experience. His sworn brother had always been good to him, but he still wouldn't give up his life to live for someone else's. We're a grown man. Isn't it time we chilled and lived a little? He knows we're not the type to take in anything he's saying, so he sums up what he wanted to talk to us about in the first place. Could we kill another human being? Taken aback, Majima questions why the hell he asks. He reminds us of what we said. We'll do anything to get back in the clan. We question why we'd want to do that when we could make 500 million more yen and get back in that way. Sagawa already realized this and tells us how he can make that deal fall through with a single phone call. He reminds us of the reality that he controls our future and needs us to make money and kill, since both are essential in the Yakuza lifestyle. We want to know who. Who does he want us to take out? Makoto Makimura apparently runs a prostitution ring in Sotenbori. They lure in women who need money, make them work, then reap all the profits they made. If someone tried to leave, they'd be beaten to the point they could never have kids and are made into an example. Since it's a piece of shit we're being ordered to kill, Sagawa says it should be easier for us to do. Thing is, we don't know where he is. We have to figure that out. Apparently he has the girls use telephone clubs to find the suitors. The lowest ones might be our best bet. We're only given 2 days to complete the task, and if we can't do it, we'll be the ones on it instead. He gives us a number to call when all is done. Leaving us with one thing, Sagawa reminds us that, at the end of the day, murder is murder, and after you take that first life, you'll always be a murderer. He continues to pester us until we finally tell him to stop. There's no future for a Yakuza who can't kill if he needs to. Sagawa stands up, pays both our bills, and walks away. As Sagawa leaves, we decide to head home soon after and go to bed. Waking up the next day, we head right to the telephone club. Walking in, we buy 2 hours worth and head to room 5. With that, we start a quest to find a cute girl our age, I mean a college girl. Our first call was a bust, but we push on. Some time passes until we finally find a college girl named Ako. We talk back and forth for a while trying to butter her up to meet. After some more chatting, we find out that she likes tattoos. That might just be our way in. We answer honestly and let her know we have a Hanya, or a demon lady, on our back. Running out of time, we drop the big question. Does she know who Makoto Makimura is? As we beg the question, she abruptly says she has to go and tries to hang up. We speak up before she can and she lets us talk. Majima comes up with the story that we're a journalist and want to write an article about Makimura, asking a person who knows him for info. Leading on, we ask to meet up to discuss him, offering to pay for her time. Ako agrees and tells us to meet her on Iowao Bridge. We tell her what we're wearing so she can know who to look for. Confirming the details, we say our goodbyes and hang up before heading onward to Iowao Bridge. Soon after we approach the bridge, we're greeted by a beautiful woman in a red coat and pink dress who asks us our name. As we answer, we confirm that this is Ako. Before we can discuss Makimura, Ako exclaims that she's starving and wants sushi. Knowing we have to take her out before she talks, we take her to a sushi bar. After we arrive, we start chit-chatting. We talk about her for a bit before we drop hints about what we are told Makimura was doing. Catching on, she speaks praises of Makimura, and we learn that maybe we were lied to about who he really was. She questions our intentions, but we affirm that we're only here on business. Before we can talk more, our food arrives and she digs in. As she finishes, we pay and leave the restaurant. We ask her to talk more, but she wants to go to the arcade and won't talk until we take her there and get her a stuffed animal. Being an elite gamer, we get the toy first try and hand it off to her. Majima brings up Makimura again, but Ako won't budge until we find a nice place to relax, so we go out to find a good place to take a load off. Outside the game center, Ako says she wants to go to the disco. After questioning how she could want to do that after eating so much, we find out she took the initiative to call the club first and book the VIP room, which is the most expensive already. She agrees that, after we go there, she'll tell us everything she knows about Makoto Makimura. With that, we reluctantly leave and head to the disco. On our way there, the bridge is blocked by a dance battle. Kameki approaches us and teaches us about the new breaking dance the kids do these days. He instructs us to watch and put what we learn into a fighting style. After the dance battle, the bridge clears and we can make our way to the disco once again. As we arrive, we pay the price and head to the VIP room. She trumpets for a while and talks about how her job can be dangerous, but Makimura is always close to save them when needed. After finishing that thought, she wants to dance, so we head to the dance floor. As we reach our destination, Ako gets groped by a stalker who she refused to sleep with previously and proceeded to send Makimura after. Before things escalate further, we step in. After exchanging words, we head outside to kick some ass. After breakdancing our way to victory, Ako praises us. We talk for a while, finding out Makimura has a chiropractor clinic nearby that we may be able to find him in. We promise that we won't tell him how we found him, that we won't mention Ako's name at all. She praises him more for he saved her and many others' lives. She goes on to say that there's only one thing that the girls who work for Makimura have to do, and that's to let him know if they encounter anyone with a bat tattoo. With that, Ako heads off to her next client. As we cast our gaze over the water, we remind ourselves that we have to kill Makimura no matter what. Acknowledging we have to head to Hoguski Kakan to find him, we set out to take out our target. Outside the door, we ready our blade and rush inside. To our surprise, there's no one inside. As we ready ourselves to leave, a voice calls out from the office. Dead set in our mission, we approach her with our blade in hand. The woman doesn't flinch and seems to not notice us, despite staring straight in our direction. This leads to us realizing that she's blind. She heads into the main workspace as we sneak past her, but as she reaches past us, us. The phone rings, leading her to come back. Unprepared for her abrupt return, we can't dodge her and she runs into us. She starts screaming that we're a thief, but we try to convince her that we're simply a customer who just entered. We beg her to give us a massage and make up that we're in immense pain. She cries as she apologizes. Feeling awkward, Majima asks if Makimura is in. We find out he's out for the day and won't be back until tomorrow. She apologizes again, then asks us where we hurt. She says we should schedule a massage soon. We dropped a lie saying we're feeling better. She convinces us to get a massage anyway, and we get into the appropriate bed. The screen fades, leading us to talk to her about miscellaneous things to try and get some information about Makimura. After shooting the shit for a bit, she begins to praise her boss for turning her life around. We, in turn, ask about him. She exclaims that people think he's scary, but he's genuinely a really nice guy. We learn that his top priority is the health and care of his customers. As the massage continues, we drift off to sleep. Our masseuse wakes us up, letting us know she's done. She heads towards the front desk. As she reaches it, we hear the boss has returned. Now's our chance. He enters and immediately thinks something is off about us. He asks about us more as he and the woman talk back and forth. Makimura proceeds to grab a couple of acupuncture needles, ready to attack. He has the woman go out and buy him some smokes, leading to him and us being the only ones left in the building. He tells us to draw our blade and prepare to fight. We call him by his name, but he questions how we know it, before readying to attack us. After we beat his ass, but before we can land the finishing blow, we're interrupted by a group of shady men neither of us recognize. We find out that his real name is Wenhai Lee, not Makimura as we had thought. The men are looking for the real Makimura, but Lee insists that he's Makoto. They don't seem to buy it. Before further action can be taken, the woman returns with the cigarettes. We learn that she's the real Makoto Makimura. The lackeys are commanded to grab her and leave. Lee attempts to intervene but is shot twice for his efforts. Having to go after Makoto, we try to follow her but are stopped by the men. We exclaim that she's our hit, but they have the same mission we do. The leader points a gun at us, but before he pulls the trigger, Lee saves us by throwing a needle through his hand, immobilizing him momentarily. Lee entrusts us with saving her from those men. He gets shot again before finally going down. The men challenge us to a fight, and we, having no other choice, ready ourselves. Dancing our way to victory, we head out after the group that took Makoto from us. We stop them as they try to force her into a car. Upset we're here, they attempt to fight us. After we win, one of the Yakuza claims that there are more men on the way. Fearing that, we deal with an escort mission and get away. Well, almost. As we reach our waypoint, we're ambushed by the first group of Yakuza. We exchange words before whooping their asses. We try to interrogate him, but he only lets us know that we have no clue who we are truly up against before passing out. With that, we grab Makoto and leave in a hurry. After running for a while, we finally find a safe space. Makoto has her trust in us, but we still have a job to do. Do we have the guts? We question as we fade to black.